McDonald's. Maybe you've heard of them. Maybe you've even been on their premises. I once was, and I saw this ad. 37 frozen flavours made of 8 base combinations. Now the first thing you might notice, orange isn't one of them. 8 flavours of Fanta, not including the classic traditional orange. But that's just a distraction, to distract you away from this, the number 37. You see, 37 is an interesting number. It's not squared, it's not the sum of numbers from 1 up to x, it's not factorial, it's not anything. It's a prime number. It's not able to be broken down into anything. And it's broken down into these 8 flavours. Let me show you. 8 flavours by 8 flavours. That gives you 8 by 8 is 64 combinations. Now 64 is far more than 37, but you might realise, of course, adding grape to vanilla is no different to adding vanilla to grape. These two are the same. So we have to rule out the duplicates. And so this leaves us with 8 plus 7 plus 6 plus 5 plus 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1 combinations. That's 36 combinations. Less than the 37 they promise. And that's assuming that you can have the combination of vanilla and vanilla, grape and grape, which you can, because that's how you get the pure vanilla, pure grape, pure peach, pure lime, etc. Is orange the 37th flavour? Is this the forbidden frozen Fanta, the one that can never exist?
Obviously not, because for one thing, you can get that in a bunch of other places, and for another, it's incredibly easy to make at home.
This is where McDonald's begins believing their word of lies. So I did what anyone does in this day and age. I went online to look for the answer. I tried to Google McDonald's, frozen Fanta flavours, frozen Fanta combinations at McDonald's, 37 flavours, and you know what I kept finding? These articles, each saying there are 36 flavours. At this point the internet is gaslighting me. It's trying to forget that I saw this ad advertising 37 flavours. This information all comes back to McDonald's itself. This is an ad from America advertising 36 flavours of frozen Fanta mixed together. It makes perfect sense with what we've got here. But, you notice in the American version, they don't have peach. They've got sour. What is sour? It's not lemon. We've already got lime in this 37th flavour. Is it sour? Is sour the 37th flavour because you can't mix it with the others? Because you can't make it in Australia? So it's just an added 1 on the end? Or is peach the frozen flavour? Because they're advertising 36 in America and now got 37. Or maybe the 37th forbidden flavour is the combination, the mixing of peach and sour. A combination that can never exist. One exists in the northern hemisphere, one in the southern, one in the western hemisphere, one in the eastern. Never can the two meet. The impossible 37th flavour, sour peach frozen Fanta. But naturally I wasn't going to let that stop me. So I went down to McDonald's. I got myself a peach frozen Fanta. It's not bad actually.
Now, sour isn't specified, but I'm assuming it's citric acid, a common food additive and flavouring. Judging by other drinks that include citric acid, I only need a small amount, less than 1/4 teaspoon. But I don't actually have a measuring device small enough for that.
It's actually a lot better than I was expecting. I was prepared to rule that out as a frozen flavour on the basis that it would taste absolutely disgusting, and there is no way that McDonald's would object to serving us something disgusting. But now I'm forced to reevaluate. If this is a decent result, then why has McDonald's forbidden it? Cicero, famous orator, once observed that when a Roman prosecutor wanted to get to the base of some mystery, he would ask, "Qui bono?" which roughly translates as who benefits. And it's pretty obvious that if these ads are from McDonald's, the number one suspect has to be McDonald's. How does they benefit from prohibiting the combination of sour and peach? This isn't the end of the mystery. We have to ask ourselves,
Why?
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 Why is this flavour forbidden? A perfectly valid combination works just as well as the others. Am I a sucker? Is this whole scheme just to trip people off about the 37 and get them to investigate and then to go and buy peach to add citric acid and then wonder how does that stack up? Is that an inferior combination? How would that compare to raspberry and grape? How does blueberry and lime work? Is it better? Is it a forbidden flavour? Is that their plan? Is McDonald's trying to trick me and others into buying into comparing these flavours, sucking us in with their errant mathematics? To find out, I went back to the source and I saw this ad. Obviously, it advertises with 36, contradictory to the 37 they'd mentioned before, but more than that, if you look at the start of the cycle, there's this combination with no flavours and a perfectly white frozen Fanta option. But the Fanta absent of flavours, with plain old ordinary vanilla, but not vanilla because vanilla is actually an option. Null Fanta. This could be the forbidden 37th flavour. If we ask ourselves why, the answer becomes apparent, because this table becomes a lie. While we were expecting 36 flavours, including the doubles, vanilla and vanilla, grape and grape, what we've actually been dealing with is something far more devious. A table with the possibility of null. You cannot truly get a vanilla-vanilla combination. What you're actually getting is vanilla and null. These combinations are also forbidden, despite what they tell you when you're ordering the drinks, and despite what they tell you on your receipt. This doesn't make much difference. All it's done is shifted the numbers across. You've still got 36 combinations, the 36 they advertise, except there is a 37th flavour now, the null-null combination. The only combination you could mix with itself, or rather, don't mix it all because there's no ingredients, no flavouring. And this makes sense when I think about how I ordered my peach, because I didn't see 8 different slushie machines hidden in McDonald's. This raises the question, how are these made? It makes sense that they're operating with a base formula that they just inject a flavoured syrup into, and the null option is available. So again, I've turned to the internet, tried to find out if there was a machine that produced these from a basic syrup. I couldn't find any information. And this isn't surprising, because the more I think back on it, the more I realise that McDonald's has constantly been providing this information about how their products are made.
Today I went to the Happy Meal workshop and saw Ronald making Happy Meals. The dragon was making the hamburgers.
And here, now we're cooking.
Remus was packing french fries.
Yum, fries.
And Ronald let me put bubbles in the soft drinks.
Here you go. Nice job.
The bun machine was working so fast, I had to help catch them. Then the toy room. Ronald was putting a toy in the Happy Meal workshop Happy Meal. I wonder what it is this week.
Wait, it's a surprise.
You can find out for yourself at McDonald's. You can find out for yourself at McDonald's.
You can find out for yourself at McDonald's.
Now, if you look closely back at that footage, you'll notice one glaring, obvious mistake. The Hamburglar is helping to make the hamburgers. This goes against everything you know about the hamburger. The mayor of Hamburger Town is a cannibal, Remus is a war criminal, the Hamburglar is responsible for stealing countless hamburgers. The Hamburglar cannot be trusted around hamburgers, and yet there he is helping out, which proves categorically McDonald's is spreading misinformation about how their products are created.
Why?
Quick burner from this broad information. Who benefits? Obviously, McDonald's. They make a saving. You think you're getting 2 doses of flavouring. You're actually just getting 1 and nothing else. You're getting a diluted frozen Fanta flavour. And that single dose of syrup, all the frozen Fantas they also sell through this campaign, adds up to big money for McDonald's. If that's the case, why advertise the 37? Why point out the not Fanta? The answer is obvious. Who benefits from that? A whistleblower, an insider to McDonald's. What is this whistleblower trying to tell us? Is it just the discounts they're making on flavouring, the racket they're running with the frozen flavours? Or does it go deeper than that? Are they saving costs in other areas? Are they saving costs by not putting real meat in their meat burgers? Are they saving costs by actually putting real meat in their vegetarian burgers? Who knows? For years of allegations like these, there is only one option left to find out the truth about the 37 flavours, about what the whistleblower is risking their life, sneaking subliminal messages into the adverts to tell us.
You can find out for yourself at McDonald's.
There's only one option. Break into McDonald's while they're closed and find out exactly what's going on. Well played, McDonald's. Well played. Our only hope now is to go back to the ads, find if there are any more hidden messages from the whistleblower, try and decipher what it is that they are trying to communicate to us. So I went back and looked at the original ad that started it all, went right back to square one. And if you notice, once you're past the distraction of orange being missing, once you're past the distraction of 37 being a prime number making no sense, then you notice this. Frozen Coca-Cola. Frozen Coke is on the list. That's the 37th flavour. The frozen Coca-Cola is the 37th flavour? The forbidden frozen Fanta flavour? That's that down. No. This is just the tip of the iceberg. Yet again. No pun intended. Because if frozen Coca-Cola is on this list of 37, why isn't frozen Sprite, which McDonald's also sells? It's not in there. It doesn't count. Only Coca-Cola does. And that just proves this goes all the way up to the top, bigger than McDonald's, and reveals a conspiracy far larger than I thought we were getting into. Coca-Cola is a flavour of Fanta. Sprite isn't. We know that Sprite is lemon and lime flavoured, but it's different to lemon flavoured, like lime flavoured Fanta. And that's why sour is no longer offered in Australia. If we had lemon and lime soda, we would mix them together. Realise it's different to Sprite. Look into what the difference is. We risk blowing Coke's cover. Coke is cola flavoured Fanta. It's a Fanta flavour. And if you look at the ingredients on the McDonald's website, it's broadly the same. But you'll notice it has caffeine, and you might think, well, that's the difference there. That's the difference between Fanta and Coke. Coke has broadly the same constituent parts, carbonated water, flavours, preservative, but it's also got caffeine. But if you're going to use that as an excuse for it not being a Fanta, you have to remove lime from this as well, because lime includes antioxidants, which no other Fanta flavour on this list contains. Which means that caffeine is not a valid excuse. Coke is cola flavoured Fanta. And it's not the 37th flavour that's forbidden. It's the 38 plus, the combination of frozen Coke over here with these flavours listed here. It adds up a whole range of possibilities. It's not null that's adding this extra column, it's Coke. And while yes, you gain a pure Coke combination, you can also have Coke mixed with the others. And in hindsight, it's so obvious. They had frozen vanilla Fanta. They had frozen Coke. They had vanilla Coke. But they don't have frozen vanilla Coke. Why wouldn't that exist? Because Coca-Cola opens up a whole range of additional forbidden frozen Fanta flavours. Those Coca-Colas cover. So I did the only responsible thing. Here is a frozen Coca-Cola, and here is a frozen vanilla Fanta. And I've removed some of that frozen Coke, and by adding the frozen Fanta, I've created frozen vanilla Coke, a truly forbidden frozen Fanta flavour. And it tastes far too vanilla-y. I've got the proportions wrong, but this is the secret. This is one of the forbidden frozen Fanta flavours. But there are other combinations in here. We can have frozen grape Coke, peach Coke, lime Coke, pineapple Coke, raspberry Coke, mango Coke, blueberry Coke. And back before they were worried about blowing their cover, back in America where they haven't thought this through, sour Coke. These are the forbidden flavours. That's what McDonald's trying to hype us, but not just McDonald's. Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola is Fanta.